You're listening to the Retina UK Talking Travel Peer Support Group meeting recorded Tuesday, the 16th of April 2024.
Hi everyone, and welcome to the Talking Travel Peer Support Group. This is the second meeting of the Talking Travel Group. Welcome everyone, thank you for joining us. For those that don't know me, my name is Rachel Foley. I am the facilitator for the Talking Travel Group. I'm also the local facilitator for the Manchester Retina UK local group. I have Bardet-Biedl syndrome, which is a rare recessive condition, and I'm registered severely sight impaired. So thank you for joining us, everyone. I'm now going to pass you over to our speaker for the evening. We are joined this evening by Gavin Neate. Gavin is the founder and the CEO of Welcome Me. So thank you ever so much for joining us, Gavin, and over to you.
It's an absolute pleasure to be here. It was impossible to say no when Mark approached me. You know how you're not supposed to be inspired by disabled people? And I will have a caveat here. I was inspired by Mark, but 100% not inspired to do any of the things he does. Okay, I'm the sort of person who will stand on the ground when somebody's bungee jumping and stand on the ground when somebody's jumping out of a plane, and I will give them a round of applause and maybe do a bit of fundraising for them, or maybe just scrape up whatever lands on the ground afterwards. But truly inspired. When I listened to Mark speak, I was just like, oh my goodness me, what a guy, and what an organization to have to be supporting. So it's a massive pleasure for me to be here, and thank you very much indeed for the invitation. A second reason for it being a massive pleasure. And actually, I tell you what, I'll just say who I am. So, Gavin, 55 years old, grey beard, grey hair, grey everything, and getting old. But that wasn't always the case. At one point, I was a young person, and I worked for Guide Dogs for the Blind as a guide dog mobility instructor. In fact, I was a guide dog mobility instructor back when guide dogs were popular, from 1996 until 2015. So the glory days of being a guide dog mobility instructor. And it was a job I absolutely loved. Maybe the best job in the world, training people how to use guide dogs. It was just phenomenal. I loved it. I suppose I got involved in guide dogs at a time when computers, PCs, and accessible technology was starting to really kick off. In fact, 2003, if anybody here is old enough to remember 2003, there was a piece of kit that came out called a Trekker by Humanware. And it was a GPS solution that meant that you probably carried around a backpack and a speaker on your shoulder and all the rest of it. And it basically gave you a GPS signal as to where you were. And it was, wow, this is amazing. And then a few years later, they brought out a thing called a Trekker Breeze, which was kind of the same size as a large phone. And then a little while later, 2007, 2006, Apple came along and went, yeah, you don't need all that rubbish. Let's bring out an iPhone. So I had people turning up to train with their guide dogs, and they would pull out an Apple iPhone and they would turn on VoiceOver and they would turn the screen curtain on. And all of a sudden they had a piece of technology that was talking to them. And I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. And I'd never been into technology. I was into dogs. But I just started getting really interested in the technology that my clients were using. And I used to do tech talks. And I was a guide dog mobility instructor in Scotland. So whenever I did my tech, I always managed to sort of line up my tech talks with the day that it was raining. So it'd be like, oh, it's raining today, but we're going to do a tech talk instead. So I had all of these guide dog owners turning up to train. And then they would tell other guide dog owners about their technology. And then I would just listen in and find out what the latest bits of kit were. And of course, Nokia N95 was around at that time, and you had to pay for the software in order to get speech on it. But of course, Apple came along, and then of course there were things like Facebook and WhatsApp groups, and there was TVs that you could talk to, and there was banking, and there was emails, and then there was just blogging, and then there was all the different things that came along. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. But I guess the one that really stood out to me was the mobile phone. Anyway, right, we'll put that to one side for a second. As a mobility instructor, your job is kind of twofold. One, it's making sure somebody is independently mobile with a guide dog. And the other is making sure that if there are problems that they face in their life with regards to buildings and people within those buildings, that they have the skills to get around it. Ultimately, when a blind person, and I'm talking to a number of them here now, when you walk into a building, there's a very good chance that you're going to find yourself an impromptu training session with a staff member that you meet. No, please don't talk to my dog. Oh, could you tell me your name? No, it's okay. I'll take your arm. Don't take mine. Please don't say it's over there. Could you just say it's on the left? These are all things that blind people say to staff members on a regular basis, because ultimately staff training doesn't really prepare people for somebody coming through the door. There's a very good reason why, and I'm talking disability in general here, but there's a very good reason why disabled people tend to go back to the same place time and time again. It's because they know they're going to be met by somebody who has a little bit of an understanding because they've met them several times before. But I was like, why should disabled people have to go to places they've been before? Why can't they go to places they've never been to? And that's where the problem comes in, because staff aren't used to dealing with and interacting with disabled people. Bearing in mind, I'm talking about all disabilities here. So from fibromyalgia to lipidemia to stammer to ataxia and aphasia and muscular dystrophy and motor neurons disease and multiple sclerosis and any number of different conditions, Parkinson's, hearing impairment, visual impairment, Usher syndrome, you name it. So I was in a situation where I was like, why don't staff know what to say? Okay, don't worry. I will run ahead of my client if I know which shop they're going into, and I will speak to the person inside the shop, and I will let them know that somebody is going to be walking through the door and how best to interact with them. So I will say things like, please introduce yourself to my client when they walk through the door. Please don't talk to their guide dog because it's in training. And even if it wasn't in training, you shouldn't talk to a guide dog. Please don't feed the guide dog. Please introduce yourself. And if you are walking away from them, let them know that you're leaving. And if you're giving sighted guide, offer your arm, don't take theirs. And then my client would walk through the door, and then they would have this brilliant interaction with the staff member. And I was like, oh my word, this is amazing. What if all interactions could be that good? What if I could run ahead of every single disabled person into every shop or every business or every building they're going into? What if I could run ahead and I could speak to the staff member before they walk through the door? I could give them all the training that they needed in that very short space of time to ensure that the disabled person had a brilliant experience. But I couldn't do that, quite obviously. I couldn't even do it for my client, because the following day when I wasn't there, they were on their own again. If they met a staff member who didn't know them, they were right back to square one, having to say to the person, please don't talk to my dog. Hello, what is your name? No, don't guide me, I'll guide you, that kind of stuff. And then I thought, this takes me back to the mobile phone. I thought, well, wouldn't it be good if the disabled person's mobile phone could communicate with a staff member before they walk through the door? What if I could just press a button and say, I'm coming into Levi's or a cinema or a hospital or a building society or a museum? What if I could just say, I'm coming in, and that triggered training in the staff so that they actually had the information they needed when I walked through the door or when one of my clients walked through the door? And that's exactly what I did. In 2015, I left guide dogs. I didn't want to, but I had to, because I discovered this thing. And in 2018, I launched Welcome, or Welcome Me. And remarkably, I was the first person in the world to invent proximity-based staff training for disability awareness. Nobody had ever done it before. All we'd ever had before was, if you want, you can phone a business and say you're coming in and maybe give them some information. And then you can keep your fingers crossed and hope that they'll actually recognize you and you'll be met by the person you spoke to on the phone. Of course, that never happens. It's very difficult to do. But nobody had ever come up with this solution. So there I was with Welcome. I had, just invented this system that was going to empower disabled people all across the country. And then this thing came up that kind of stopped anyone from wanting to get involved in customer service. This COVID thing that meant that it was impossible to walk through the door anywhere. And that kind of put the mockers on it for a little while. But then the world started to open up again, and we went from 5 venues in Edinburgh that were using it to now over 200 venues across the country where they offer Welcome, and you can interact with the venue before you arrive. Now, I heard, who was it speaking earlier? I can't remember. Was it Rachel? It might have been Rachel, who said that she was representing a group in Manchester. Well, as an example, Levi's, and I'm wearing one of their tops here with my logo on it, they launched in 13 Levi's stores from Manchester all the way up to Glasgow, including Belfast and 3 in Dublin and Liverpool and Gretna Green and several places in between. They launched in their stores. So you could potentially communicate with Levi's, turn up at Levi's, no matter what your disability, and you'd be met by somebody who had an understanding of Parkinson's or multiple sclerosis or epilepsy or diabetes or whatever it was. And they would also get a message from you as to what you wanted to do. I'm here to buy some jeans. I'm here to buy some shoes. I'm here. I need a seat when I arrive. I'm a little bit deaf in my left ear. Could you speak to my right-hand side? That would be much better. Please don't talk to my guide dog, that kind of stuff. So it was remarkable. We suddenly got real interest from a lot of businesses that were saying, we want to improve the service that we provide to all disabled people. And one of the problems that we've got is we train staff and then 6 months later they leave. Your system is going to make sure that no matter what, staff always know how to interact with people when they arrive. So some of the venues that we've got on the platform, so Visit Scotland, Scottish Parliament, Scottish Government, Irish Rail, Levi's. We just launched with Currys the other day, 20 stores across the West Midlands. If you're in the West Midlands, we can talk about that in a minute. We launched with museums, art galleries, botanic gardens in Edinburgh. We launched with 8 libraries in City of Westminster Council area and all of their leisure centres. We are in optometrists. This week, we launched with our first NHS hospital in Glasgow. We are in art galleries, coffee shops, restaurants, goodness me, everything, anywhere and everywhere, cinemas, anywhere you want to go, we can be utilized. And of course, that involves travel. We're in all the Northlink ferry terminals. So if you are traveling to Stornoway, Orkney, Aberdeen, Stromness, any of these places, you can let them know, and then they will meet you and know exactly how to interact with you when you arrive. It's not for everyone, but it doesn't have to be for everyone. If you don't know how to use a computer, you don't have to use it. If you don't want to use it, you don't have to use it. However, every time somebody uses Welcome, the person who walks through the door after them will get better customer service, because what you're doing is you're reminding them some of the tools that they need in order to interact with all disabled people. So I maintain if 1% of disabled people who were out there in the world used Welcome, all people would improve customer service for all disabled people, because it's just reminding people about their need to learn stuff before people walk through the door. That's pretty much what Welcome does. I will mention a couple of other things. It's totally free. You don't pay a penny to use it. It is a web app. You just download, you don't download or anything. You go to a website, you fill in a profile, you then get a list of all the different venues that are on the platform, and then you can visit any of those venues. You can also visit some of the venues' websites, and you could actually interact with their website themselves so that you can do it directly through their website. And a good one, as an example, is CV Life in Coventry. They've got it in the Wave. So if somebody went into CV Life and put in Access for All on their search on Google, then they would get to a page where they would see our system. However, if you would like to set up a profile, and you would like to test it out for yourselves, it's very easy to do. All you have to do is put in, and we'll put a link for this, and I'm going to say it quickly, and you're going to go, I have no idea what he said. But what it basically is My Welcome, but it is my.well-co.me. And that's the website that you go to in order to set up a profile. my.well-co.me. my.well-co.me. And that's where you set up a profile. Once you do that, you've got access to all of the different venues. A lot of people say to me, well, who pays for it? You're not a charity. The venue pays a monthly subscription. So the venue pays in order to offer this service to the people that use that venue. They pay around about £60 a month. So even a coffee shop that has 3 people using their venue per month will easily pay for a system that trains all of their staff in all disabilities forever. As long as they've got this platform in place, they can utilize it to train their staff. Also, they can access all of the training, whether they have disabled people coming through the door or not. So if next week was Autism Awareness Week, they can go in and they can find out a bit about autism. Question that a lot of people ask me is, where do you get the information? I don't make it up. All of the information we get is from all the charities out there that represent different disabilities. So Usher's syndrome, is covered by the team at Cure Ushers, Joe, who just wrote to me just a minute before I came on. So Guide Dogs do the stuff for guide dogs. Scope do a lot of things for mobility impairment. We have Ataxia UK, Discover, which is a charity working with people living with aphasia. We have Headway Ireland, who do a lot of stuff for acquired brain injury. We have Parkinson's UK. We have Scottish Autism, who do the stuff around autism. So all of the stuff we pass on to the staff, which is an overview and top tips and links, is information that's provided to us by the charities, and we promote the charities for free. Lots of information there. I do apologize for giving you loads and loads to think about, but that's welcome. That's what it does. And I'd be very, very happy to answer any questions that people might have.
That's great. Thank you for that, Gavin. That was brilliant. Thank you.
Is it an app that you download, or you just go to that website?
No,
what you said a minute ago?
Just go to that website. Yeah, my.well-co.me. The well is WEL. So it's just my welcome. That's basically the letters that you're using, but you've got a dot and a hyphen and a co in there, or a .co.
That's brilliant, Gavin. Thank you very much. If what Gavin did when we was in Newcastle, he did a really, really brilliant sort of walkthrough. And I was wondering, Gavin, have you got that in like a PDF, or could we share that?
What I'll do,
up email, and we could probably do a step-by-step guide of how you can set up your profile, you know, and your condition and everything like that. So as soon as you've finished your profile, you know, you're good to go to use it. So I'll get that information from.
Cool. It's a short video, 3 minutes long, and a couple of things that I'll reiterate. We don't use the word disability anywhere in the app or in the service. What we say is there anything you would like customer service to have awareness of? And you can also put in undisclosed condition. And you can also not use it. So if you don't want to let anybody know that you're coming in, you can just walk through the door. You could also put in undisclosed condition, please don't talk to me. So you could get them to ignore you. And for some people, that can be quite useful. The last thing, if you are a BSL user, is for somebody to come up and spend half an hour trying to say, hello, my name is, in BSL. So sometimes it's I just want to come in, buy whatever it is I'm buying and leave again. But it's really cool if you know I'm here, just in case I have a problem. So yeah, it can be utilized in lots of different ways. It's all about choice. Also, the data we have, because it's free, we don't need credit card details. Because it's all about arriving, we don't need your home address. So all we have is your name and your email address, and what you want people to have awareness of. The only data that we use, and bearing in mind that I come from a charity background, I'm very, very keen on data. The only data we use is when we're talking to an airport at the end of the year, we can turn around to them and we can say, 20% of the people that used your services last year said they were visually impaired. 15% hearing impairment, 40% said that they were neurodiverse. And that's incredibly useful for an airport to know what percentages of people they have coming through the door, because then they can allocate what their resources are in order to help those people.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you very, very much. Has anyone got any other questions for Gavin?
Does it work at train stations, this app?
Yeah, so it's a super question. Who's that said that question there?
It's Liam.
Hi, Liam. Yeah, so we're actually in the process of introducing it to a train station. Well, it's in Ireland. It's with Irish Rail right now. But one of the main reasons that I wanted to introduce it to railway stations was not because we were trying to do what Passenger Assist does, but I recognized that a lot of people, they don't necessarily need help with the ticket and things, although they might do. It's not something that we do. What we do is we get it so that when somebody goes to a train station, they can get orientation and they can be met by a member of staff. So the staff member can meet you when you arrive, and then they can help you. You can say, this is what I need to do, whatever it is. I love the idea of people being totally independent and being able to
sorry to interrupt you, but sometimes when you do book passenger assistance, they say that you have to meet them rather than they should meet you.
That's an interesting one. I would always say go to the customer service desk, but we've got a manual arrival button in Welcome. So you could potentially arrive at Welcome, at the station, press the button when you got to a point that you knew you were at. So let's say you're in the car park or the bus stop. You could press the button and then they would know you were at the bus stop. So they could then come and meet you. I would always recommend people to go to the customer service desk when they arrive if they know where it is. But if you go to the main entrance, if somebody gives you a sighted guide, taxi driver, or if you get off the bus, if you can get to the main entrance and press the manual arrival button, they know that you're there. And that's one of the advantages with Welcome.
Like, for example, at Manchester train station, for example, you have to go up 2 flights of escalators to get to the customer services desk.
So what I would do with Manchester is I would say, because you can have 3 or 4 different arrival places. So I would say, let's just say it's taxi rank or a bus stop or main entrance. Let's just say it's main entrance, because I'm guessing, Liam, you can get to the main entrance.
Yeah, they drop you off at the main where the taxis drop you off. Yeah.
But so let's say you got to the main entrance, you would press a button on your phone. That would send a message to the customer service team to say that you were at the main entrance. Their job would then be to come and collect you from the main entrance, if that's what you wanted. If you knew the station, you could make your way to customer service desk. We're not saying you have to be collected. We're just saying if you need to be, this is how you could use it. Sadly we aren't at Manchester. I know Manchester's massive. I know how big the station is, and it could be very, very confusing. And when I was a mobility instructor, just doing an orientation mobility lesson at the Manchester station, that could take several weeks to get that kind of route. So I want people to say, I'm here, and somebody come and meet and greet them.
Just to say, Liam, I know at the moment, you don't have that welcome at the station, but you can actually ring passenger assistance, and they will come and meet you.
What I normally do. I've got that. I normally do that when I'm going to Manchester train station anyway.
Yeah, that's what they advise me to do. They advise me to just ring. If you're coming in at a different entrance, you can ring them and they will actually come down to the entrance and meet you.
Yeah, that's why I always do that anyway.
Yeah.
That's super. I think the thing is that there are lots of different solutions out there. The phone call one, if they provide that, is absolutely fantastic. What we do is we make sure that if you want to travel to a station, if you want to go to a station and you want to get some orientation a couple of weeks before you travel, this is a really good way of doing that, because you're going to be met by somebody who understands and goes, well, I'm going to take the next 20 minutes to show you around the station.
Yeah.
So you can do like a recce of where you're going.
Exactly, yeah, like a tour. That's the plan anyway. But we haven't got any stations on the platform in the UK yet, but there's going to be one coming shortly, and I'll make sure that I pass that on to Mark so that he knows and he can pass it on to you all. I notice Julie's got a hand in the air. Can we zip across to Julie?
Hi, everybody. And Gavin, I just wanted to say it was a wonderful presentation. I was desperate to hear about Welcome Me. I'm with Deaf Blind Scotland. I hope you don't mind me jumping on here.
Julie.
I said we've not changed my name, so we've had a lot of members asking me about it, and to tell you the truth, I really couldn't quite understand what it was. So I thought I'll come on and just listen to you talk. What my question is just, do you pre-book it and like give a time that you're going to be at the place, or do you arrive at the place and then click a button, or?
Yeah, so you can pre-book it. So if I was wanting to travel tomorrow at 4 o'clock, I would just say at 3:30 I'm going to be at the station. But you don't have to be there at 3:30. You could be there at 3, and you could be there at 4:45. It's just when you arrive, you can press a button. The whole thing is that they're not necessarily standing waiting for somebody who might not turn up, because a lot of people change their plans. So yeah, you just say that you're going the day before, and then you can be met by somebody. And I mean, I had, and I'm so glad that you're here, but I had a conversation with somebody, and I'm not going to mention who they were, but they were a volunteer who worked for a visual impairment organization, who after I had presented, they said, oh no, my clients wouldn't want that. And then she refused to show it to them. I was like, are you what? Give them a choice.
Exactly.
I couldn't believe it. I was like,
I've just qualified as a low vision rehab specialist, so from that side I can understand what you're saying about rushing ahead and saying, oh, I've got somebody coming in, make sure. So
that's really interesting. But yeah, I'm fully into having everybody having options, and I'm always asked about how can we make it easier. So it sounds like a fantastic product, so I'm really, really excited to pass on all the details that I can to everybody.
Where are you based, Julie?
Glasgow.
Glasgow. So Glasgow has got 3 Levi's stores: the Glasgow Science Centre, the Scottish Piper, the National Scottish Pipers Museum, and the Visit Scotland on Sauchiehall Street. But they've also got the Forge shopping centre. So there's quite a few different venues around Glasgow. But, and this is key, in if you get a profile and you go to the help bit, you can actually request where you want it. So obviously there's a whole group of people from all over the country here. If you don't have it in your local cinema, you can request it. And then I will contact the cinema and I will say, we've had 5 requests to say that you should have a look at Welcome. Can you imagine having 1,000 disabled people across the country saying, IKEA, I think you need to install Welcome?
Yeah, I think it's absolutely, it must be so, I can imagine your sales will be going through the roof. Honestly, I was even thinking things like hotels.
How amazing would that be? You know,
Especially when they say IKEA, you have to follow the yellow arrows.
Yeah.
So on the question of hotels, we've just launched with Crown Plaza Hotel in Newcastle, Staybridge Apartments in Newcastle. We're just about to launch with Hampton by Hilton in Stockton. We're in the Marsham Court Hotel, which is probably the best hotel in the whole of the UK for disabled people. So if you want any venue at all to use this system, all you have to do is let me know, but also talk to the venue. There were 16.2 million disabled people in the UK. We can take a 50,000 person's signature to the Houses of Commons or Westminster, and they will stand up and go, I think somebody needs to do something about this. And that will be a success. I think 50,000 people saying Sainsbury's, you should put in Welcome, means the following week you're going to be met by a staff member who says, well, not the following week, but maybe a couple of months later, you're going to be met by staff members who go, do you know what? I know a little bit more about Parkinson's. I know that there's going to be a challenge with this and that and the next thing. And here comes Michael. Michael, it's me, Fred. I'm here to help you, my friend. I know you're wanting this, this, and this, and this. Let's go and get it. That's the vision I have for the future. And I feel that the minority that is disabled people, which, let's face it, is the largest minority in the world, because most people are going to be disabled. I think it's also the strongest and most powerful minority in the world. And I just don't think we've ever been in a situation where we've been able to use that power. But I hope that Welcome can provide something, or Welcome Me, as I might not have to call it, can actually provide people with a little bit of power. Please follow me. You are on LinkedIn, Gavin Neate on LinkedIn or Twitter or Facebook. There's lots out there. I've written 2 articles on this, and I'm really, really keen. I want to go back to training guide dogs, but the truth is, I love the opportunity to meet people like Mark and to talk to groups like this, because it takes me right back to why I got involved in this in the first place.
Yeah, well, I've got to say, it sounds amazing to me. So very well done, and I look forward to listening about it all. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Gavin. Has anyone got any other questions for Gavin? Any information that you want in regards to sort of the Facebook pages, LinkedIn links, all that type of thing? Gavin can share that with me, and that will all be in the follow-up email with the audio recording as well. So,
Gavin, have you ever come across any companies that said they don't want your app?
The companies that we talk to, basically, are the ones that are now coming to us. So Curry's came to us. Levi's was one conversation. They went, love it. So we're getting more and more companies coming to us and saying they want it. The councils are massive. Councils, like, they have a duty of care. So we're not trying to force this on anybody. There are enough companies out there that want it. The big one for me, this is the one that everybody here could actually do something about. You know how MPs and MSPs have monthly surgeries, I call them. I think they call them surgeries in Scotland, might be. Well, in Scotland, they paid for this to be in every single MSP constituency surgery. Every single MSP can have this, so that if you want to go and see your MP or MSP, then they will know in advance how best to interact with you. Massive. My dream, my vision is this is going to be in every single polling station. I want all disabled people to vote. When all disabled people vote, they will be much better represented in the Houses of Parliament or in Scottish Parliament or in the Senate or wherever it might be. They will have much better representation. So that's my dream for the future. That's my goal.
It's very difficult for blind people to vote. It's very difficult for blind people to vote.
It really is. But if you're met by a returning officer who understands that, then at the very least they will know before you turn up that they need to have access to the information that they need. And RNIB and Pocklington Trust are working hard to improve voting for blind people. But bear in mind, and please do bear in mind, that a lot of what we do is for people who have hearing disability or mental health or autism, neurodiversity. It's a very, very broad church that we're working in. So we're trying to do the best of as many people as we possibly can.
I've got two questions. So the first one is, do you have it in airports? I think you mentioned before. And then the second question is, you mentioned that when it goes through to the company, you know, you can say what support or you need. How do they get their training? How is their training given? Is it just through them getting the information that you've put on through signposting, or how do they get that training?
Yeah. So the first one's an easy one to answer. Edinburgh Airport have Welcome, but they haven't switched it on. They've paid for it for the last 3 years, but they haven't switched it on yet. They just need a bit of pressure, I think. Airports would be a great one because you can turn up and then you can get help all the way through the gate. And if you're a wheelchair user, then great, have a wheelchair. But if you're blind, you don't need a wheelchair. So you can say, I don't need a wheelchair. I'll take sighted guide, or my guide dog will follow you, or whatever it might be. And the other question is, what information does the venue get? So on the screen, when you say you're going, they automatically get an email. And Mark and the team saw this when I presented it in Newcastle. But what they get on the screen is your photograph, so they know what they look like, you look like when you arrive. Especially good for people with hidden conditions. They get conditions, or rather an overview of the condition that you would like them to know about. You want awareness of. So if you had aphasia, they would get a 1 paragraph on what aphasia was. They would then get 5 to 8 top tips on how to interact with you. So always introduce yourself. Don't talk to the person's guide dog. Make sure you speak clearly and easily. Make sure you turn the background music off, depending on the specific needs of that person. Don't touch their wheelchair. Go to a quieter room. Have the glass of water ready for them, whatever it might be. And then we do 3 URL links. So these are 3 links to the charity that provided us with the information. Generally speaking, one of those is a film, and that could be a 2-minute film about that particular condition. And these films aren't made by us, they're made by either independents or the charity themselves. So Joe and Stephen at Cure Usher, they made a film, and when anybody living with Usher's syndrome goes into a venue, they get access to Joe's film immediately. So staff can watch a 2-minute film and learn so much more about the particular condition. So hopefully that gives you a little bit more information about what they get. I will send through 2 videos. I'm going to send through a 3-minute video, which is how to set up a profile. And I'll send through also, not everybody gets this, but I think this group could take it. I'll send you through the video that shows you what the venue gets. So the information that they receive when you actually book a visit. And that's the video I send out to the venue to sort of train them how to use the system.
Right, great. That sounds really good. It sounds like everything is covered, all bases in a sense. So it sounds amazing.
Keep testing me. Test me all the time. I'm improved. You are the best feedback people in the world, because I will just keep improving it to make sure it's suitable for you.
That's excellent.
Hello, it's Joyce here. Can I ask a question? I see you've got like St James's Centre, shopping centres. What happens when you go there? Because obviously it's a big place. So
Joyce has obviously set up a profile while I've been talking, which just shows how easy it is, eh, Joyce? So she's had a look down the list of venues that are on the platform, and she's seen St James Quarter, which is a just fantastic shopping centre in Edinburgh. It's the customer service team at St James Quarter. So when you turn up, you could say, please meet me at the door, and then somebody would come and meet you at the door. But if you were to make your way to the customer service desk, and I believe they have an amazing customer service desk and room now, if you knew where that was, you could make your way there, you could take a seat, and then somebody could help you out and take you around, or do orientation with you, or have a wander around and take you to the shops that you would like to go to within St James Quarter. Edinburgh's got brilliant. Yeah, it's brilliant. It's underutilized because we have to get our venues to promote it. We can't promote all of our venues. It's like if you put in an accessible toilet, it's not up to the plumber to promote the toilet. It's up to the venue to promote that they have a service. So we rely on our venues, and we nudge them every now and again to promote it. St James Quarter has been terrible at promoting it because too few people use it. But then CV Life, they promote it brilliant. We get at least 2 people a week using CV Life swimming pool with Welcome, which is brilliant.
That's great. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Gavin, I've got one for you. What establishments would you most like to see on Welcome Me?
So I think councils, because councils are like a hub in a community, libraries, leisure centres, community centres, adult learning centres, they're all run by councils, and councils have a duty of care. City of Westminster Council put it in 3 buildings: Registrar's Office, City Hall, and another. And within 6 months, they said, we want this in all of our libraries and all of our leisure centres. They now have it in 38, soon to be 40 venues across City of Westminster. So councils are very, very quick when you get through to the right people. But ultimately, I want to go where you want me. So if you want it in your local coffee shop and you think that they might be open to it, then I want it in a coffee shop. If you want it in your train station, airport, we will do our best to sort of chat to them as well. But councils seem to be really good. I would love it in an MP's office in England. We haven't got any MPs using it yet, and I think MPs could really improve. So if I had one ask, I would say, wouldn't it be good to get councils and that's 2 asks, councils and MPs, but everywhere, anywhere you want it, really, where there's customer service.
Yeah, gyms, I think customer services in gyms, where they're all going 24-hour kind of do-it-yourself gyms.
Yeah.
There is no customer services anymore. You don't see someone at the front desk. It's you go in, you swipe in, and then you're there to utilize the equipment as you see fit. But sometimes you want that person to be able to show you where the machines are. Perhaps maybe we set the running machine up if you've never used that particular equipment before.
You're so right.
Yeah, you're not sitting on someone that's just on their phone in complete silence, you know.
Well, Pure Gym have, you punch in a number to get through a door, and you have to go into this kind of like tube from Star Trek, and then you go around a sort of like a concertina, what it's called, a turnstile. But if you have any kind of anxiety, you're not going to want to step in that.
No.
But if somebody could come and meet you at the door, who understood that you were neurodiverse or dyslexic or whatever it was, and then said, "Hello there, Mark, come on, if you'd like to come with me, we'll set up that running machine," because they have personal trainers in those places. They also have a duty manager. But they're normally out on the floor doing things. So yeah, I think a leisure centre would be an absolute corker. We've got a number of leisure centres already on the platform, so we've proved it with them. Currys is brilliant. If you are in the West Midlands, I did say I would mention this. Currys are running a trial between now and the 28th of April. Is anybody in the West Midlands by any chance?
No.
Oh wow! Hey, sorry, who went? Is it Bev? Bev, hi, Bev. All of the Curry stores in the West Midlands, all of them from Stockton, for Stafford down to Kidderminster, all have Welcome. They have said to us, if we can get 50 visits within the space of 6 weeks, 50 people using it, they will think about rolling it out to the whole of the United Kingdom. So whichever Curry store is closest to you, they've got Welcome. If you can set up a profile and visit before the 28th, you could be massive help to us in order to A, test it out for yourself and give me feedback, but B, you'd prove to Currys that it's worthwhile.
I need to go down there actually to take this laptop down. So so I will do that, and I am planning on doing that. So thank you.
Yeah. Oh, that is awesome. That is true.
Yeah. I'll arrange to set up the site this evening. Yeah.
Bev, that's brilliant. We will talk again, Bev, because whenever somebody books on Welcome, I get a notification that they've booked a visit, and then I get to see how quickly the venue reacts to you, so I can then sort of keep a check on how well they do. And then what I'll do is, when I see your name pop up, I'll write to you and I'll get some feedback from you. You can let me know. Brilliant.
Yeah, lovely. Thank you.
Oh, my pleasure.
Gavin, we do have a West Midlands peer support group as well, so we'll definitely share that information with the facilitator, who have actually got a peer group meeting this weekend. It's an in-person one, so I'm going to make sure that I pass that information on to the facilitator, Perm, so she can share that with her group as well. I think Perm has actually registered for tonight's meeting as well. Don't think she's joined us, but she'll definitely get the recording, so she will know to share that with her community where she works, etc., to try and spread that awareness for you?
That would be absolutely phenomenal. Just because I know that obviously I've been speaking a lot, and I really appreciate the time. What I'm doing now, just in case somebody hasn't managed to log in, or I know we've been talking, or they wanted to do it later, what I'm going to do is go into the chat and I'm going to share a direct link to Welcome. And if you just press on that later or now, it'll take you all the way through to the login page, and it will say sign up or log in. And then, of course, there's a couple of people already on here that have set up a profile. They're now the experts. So if you do have any problems, talk to Joyce. Joyce will be prepared to talk to you all night long. Sorry. So that, yeah, there's a link in chat. All you have to do is click on that. It takes you through to the login and sign up, and you can set up a profile. Again, it's totally free. I do not mine your data. The only data I use is to help venues provide services, and it's all anonymized. So trust me, I wouldn't do anything that to sort of put your data at risk.
Gavin,
hello.
Hello. Do you have anything whereby I could send some information about this to, say, my local MP and my council council? That you provide something that, you know, can just, you know, would obviously be introduced by me, but then you could say, you know, read all about it and think about it.
Yes, 100%. And if somebody introduces me to anybody, I am very happy for them to stay involved all the way through the interaction. I want them to feel and be directly connected, if they want to be, to the solution being successful. We had one chap walk into House of Fraser in Edinburgh. He stood for a couple of minutes. Nobody came up to talk to him. He requested House of Fraser install it. 2 months later, it went live, and it was all because of one request. So, and we invited him back in, and he went shopping and was met by somebody. So to have people involved all the way through the process is brilliant. And I'd be over the moon to do that. So yes, I can provide information, and poor old Mark's going to have an inbox after this with lots of info in there. But if you do have any questions, please just reach out to me. I'm very happy to talk to you day or night.
Thank you.
Yeah,
my pleasure.
And please keep your ideas coming in, you know, depending on, you know, this is a travel peer support group. So if there is any travel-y type places you want to go, especially things like to get people out and about and active. I mentioned gyms and leisure centres, but things like National Trust, English Heritage sites as well, you know, where they are so big, you know, but they all have a visitor centre, they all have customer services, they all have disabled parking. So why not be able to meet and greet you, to show you where the coffee shops are, to show you where the gift shops are. Exactly.
Mark, we just launched with Vindolanda the other day. Vindolanda is the Roman fort in Northumberland.
Oh, brilliant.
Just launched with them. And I was over the moon because I went there when I was 12. So I was like, yeah, this is amazing. So yeah, they've just launched the other day. So I totally agree. Getting involved with the National Trust is a corker. Visit England, obviously Visit Britain. There are so many different venues and how we want people to have leisure time and enjoy going out and being met by people. It takes away a little bit of the anxiety of arriving and then going, please don't talk to my dog. Please introduce yourself. It's not your job to do that. It can do. Press of a button.
Gavin, would we be able to promote Welcome to other disabled groups?
Oh yes, 100%. I want an army of disabled people out there who are telling.
I'm involved in the Manchester City Football Club Disabled Supporters Association.
Brilliant. There's a chap called John Attenborough. Have you heard of John?
Yeah, I know John. Yeah.
Yeah, I know John very well. He's one of my best friends. John is always traveling around. So if I know that he's coming to Manchester. Oh, wait a second. Is he going to see the other guys? I don't know if he's seeing City or the other people. And I think there's two teams.
Don't swear at us now. Don't swear.
Hey, listen, I'm from Scotland. I talk about Rangers and Celtic, so I'm sure I can mention Man City and Man United. Yeah, well, let's have a chat and definitely chat to John about it. John was one of the first people to use Welcome here in Scotland, and he's always talking about it. So, yeah, I think he's coming down to Manchester shortly to go to a game down there. So you should get your heads together. I would love it. We're not in any football stadiums. but I love the idea of it being in a football stadium for the orientation days and for club days go along to actually go to the trophy room and stuff like that, to actually let a staff member know that you need a particular type of service before you turn up. And then
because you know the club tours what they offer, they could definitely do have welcome on the club tours what they offer.
Yeah, we could actually feed that into one of our friends. Their sons actually works within City, don't they? So we could feed that in. Like when we get the information from Mark, we can then share it between us all. We've all got different groups that we're involved in for all disabilities, and we can share it far and wide, can't we? And help get lots more organisations to take it on board.
Love it. I've spent the last few years doing a lot of my work has been building numbers of venues, and that's fine, but it's like a sales job. You have to be talking to venues, and then they say how many people you use it, and I say, well, we've got this many people setting up profiles. But the joy that I have, and Mark would have seen this when I was down in Newcastle, I love spending time with the people that I did for 18 years with guide dogs. This is all about independent mobility and choice for disabled folk, and that's the job that I left the military to do. So I could spend my life just traveling around doing talks at disability groups.
Because Retina UK, we support all of our community across all of the UK. Do you have much response in Northern Ireland? We've got our group over there.
Yeah, Northern Ireland's always been really slow. Northern Ireland and Wales are pretty slow. There's a Levi's store just south of Belfast where they've got it. RNIB had it, but they never really made use of it. So it was in their offices, but they didn't really promote it. But that's okay. It takes some time sometimes to build up awareness and knowledge of new things. And of course, I like it when disabled people themselves start using something and saying, why haven't you got this, or why don't you use it? But yeah, Northern Ireland we could do with a few more. I've always wanted it in the Titanic Museum. I think that would be a corking place to have it. And of course, Stormont should have it as well.
Yeah. Well, we do have a Belfast peer support group, and our facilitator over there is a massive advocate, like Rachel is for Manchester and Richard is for Wrexham and the Wales community, as all of our facilitators that are darted across the UK, including Glasgow and Edinburgh. So and I will share this far and wide, so all our little pockets of local peer support, even Isle of Wight as well. We have a group
brilliant.
Isle of Wight as well.
Yeah.
So
I'm very happy to do any talks. The biggest problem with Wales, as people will know, is that you have to have it it has to be in Welsh as well as English. So that's a big challenge. We're in talks with some charities in Wales looking at being able to put it in other languages. But talking about languages, it's one of the things that somebody said to us the other day in Birmingham. They said, you got it in Hindi. And I was like, not yet. So it's one of those things that we know that we have to do. It just takes time to do it.
Yeah, that might be something that you can link in with the next Wales and Wrexham local peer support group, Mark, because Richard Zimbler, who is the co-facilitator of this group, who unfortunately can't be on tonight, he facilitates the Wales and Wrexham group. I know he is always looking, like myself for the Manchester group, we're always looking for speakers, so it might be something that he could take into consideration for his next group, because his groups are currently all run online.
Give me a shout anytime. I'm always happy to present. I love talking about it, and I think it's a really important thing to do. I've taken up loads of time, and I know that I have to go, but I just wanted
Can I
to.
just have a question? It's me.
Go on, sorry, yeah, please do.
Hi. Are you going to be using it in like concert arenas and theatres and stuff like that?
Yeah, so we're in the Queen's. I think it's Queen's Hall in Newcastle just now.
Right.
So we've integrated it into a booking platform called Spectrix, which a lot of theatres have. So when you book online, you have to go, like when you're booking a flight and it says tick this box or something. Well, these are booking platforms. So part of what we did with the web app, i.e. going through the internet to sign up rather than an app, was it meant that we could actually integrate into booking platforms. So yes, our intention is to be in more and more of these types of venues. We're in a cinema, a couple of cinemas. and we're in Glasgow Science Centre. These are all kind of venues like that. But yes, we want to be more involved in theatres and the like. But it does need people to say they want it, just as much as us coming out there and selling it. People need to know that people want it.
Excellent. Thank you very, very much, Gavin. Has anyone got any final questions for Gavin before we say our goodbyes? No.
Thank you so much.
No, thank you, Gavin. That was brilliant. Thank you.
My pleasure. And one last thing, Sadia's niece before I go. Sadia, is your niece still there?
No, she's not. She's gone. She's gone. Yeah, she's gone.
I've got a wolf to say goodbye.
Hello.
Don't ask me why I have all these cuddly animals in my motorhome, but I live in a motorhome, by the way. That's why my motorhome's in my backdrop. I travel around the country in a motorhome.
Gavin, I've signed up. If you look.
Awesome.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
No, my pleasure. It's a real pleasure.
Keith would like to ask you a question.
Hi, Keith.
Hello. Sounds brilliant. Now I've never heard of it or anything. So if we were doing, say, internet searches, what would we look for?
Yeah, so it's a difficult one, and I kind of the word welcome is brilliant for a name of a company, but it's absolutely rubbish when it comes to searching on the internet, because you put in the word welcome, it doesn't help. But if you were to put in welcome and then my name, Gavin Neate, or welcome customer service, in fact, I'd be interested. So I'm going to do that now. I'm going to put in a search for welcome customer service and see what it comes back. Be interested if anybody did that, because I've got, it comes up with welcome for business, which is our business portal, and that's ours, but it might be because it knows my stuff. I'd be interested how quickly people would find it by just doing searches, random searches for the word welcome customer service. I wonder what that would come back with.
And even using Siri, asking Siri to search the internet for welcome customer services, or even if you're on the Samsung or Android platform, ask your Google to search for it and see what pops up.
I'd be really interested in that as a sort of a study, is like how quickly can you find it without actually putting in the website. The SEO, what they call SEO, I think it is search engine optimization. Am I right? Is it search engine optimization? Have you got any tech heads in here?
Yeah, something like that. Caroline, she's done it on Google, and it's the 4th one down. So you're quite
pretty impressive
on the Google search.
That's pretty impressive. I'm quite impressed with that.
Good. Thank
One
you.
day I want people to walk into a building, look up, see the word welcome, and go, that's got a me at the end of it. I want people to feel that they are just as welcome everywhere as everybody else. And we know that there's discrimination out there. We want to try and address it.
It's fantastic. Thank you so much for your time.
No, it's a real pleasure. I can't thank you enough. And yes, I'm inspired, but I'm not jumping out of any planes soon.
No,
Be back to action again, like you.
It won't be for a while. I'm just trying to think of the next thing to do again, just to inspire and excite people to go off and do their own crazy challenges and raise a few funds for Retina UK. So
truly awesome.
Their choice. So yeah, but thank you so much for your time this evening. It's much appreciated.
Oh, it's been a pleasure. Please reach out. I'm so chuffed to talk to you. It's been a real pleasure. Bye for now, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. Bye.
We hope you've enjoyed this Retina UK peer group recording. If you have any questions or queries regarding its content, or you would like to leave us some feedback, then please do get in touch. You can contact us via our helpline on 0300 111 4000, call the office team on 01280 821 334, or alternatively, you can contact us via email at services@retinauk.org.uk. If you are interested in creating your own peer support group and assisting Retina UK to grow our peer support group network and join our amazing team of volunteers, then please do get in touch by contacting us at info@retinauk.org.uk and speak to a member of staff to see how you can get involved. Thanks again for listening, and please stay tuned for more peer support group recordings coming throughout this year. Take care and all the best. Bye for now.